Well, hello, everyone out there, you stay tuners, you. It's your good friend Jimbo here, starting off the show. Yeah, you're probably asking yourself, where's King? Is King at it again? Hashtag King showed up. No, unfortunately, we had some bad storms up here this past week, and he's safe, his family's safe. But couldn't make it tonight. Hopefully he'll be back next week to grace us with his boisterous presence and his Tampa Bay Lightning love. I'm sure he's loving that they're down 2-1 to the Capitals. I think they play tonight also, so hopefully the Capitals can go up 3-1. But woke up this morning and just looking at last night's scores and stuff like that, and I saw the one save that Marc-Andre Fleury he made. My God, he looked like a frog. It looked like it was a one-timer that he dove over with his right leg, blocked it, ricocheted off, and somehow jumped up like a frog and jumped over to the left real quick. But man, it was just, for someone that's been in the league for quite some time and supposedly being old and washed up. I mean, he's still got some moves for him. The Penguins were hoping he was still around when this past season for them. So tonight I'm gonna do a show alone here. It's my first time doing this, so hopefully I'm not too bad at it and not bore you guys too much. As far as Twitter, you can follow me at Jimbo STS Sports. And as far as King goes, you can follow him at King of Skunk Duck. Also can follow Stay Tuned Sports at ST Sports Podcast. Follow us on iTunes. I believe also it's on Podbean as well. We're still working on our website. It's staytunesports.wordpress.com. You can check us out there as well. Any comments, if they're good, please let us know. And if they're bad, like your grandma always said, if you had nothing nice to say, don't say at all. No, but even if it's a bad comment, that's the only way we're going to learn. We're trying to make this a better podcast each week for you guys to hear. So hopefully it could be better than the Cleveland Browns, like the past few years, since this upcoming season. I can't wait till it happens. They just got announced, I believe it was today, about being on the Hard Knocks. One, you're going to see how much of a diva Baker Mayfield is. I just can't stand him. I think he's the next Johnny Manziel for the Browns. I mean, to go from college to NFL, that's a big jump. They always say that the game's a lot quicker. Only a few first rounders, let alone first rounders and number one overall picks. I mean, look at Jamarcus Russell. I mean, 3-4 years he was out of the league, and he was a first rounder. But with the show, I'm gonna watch it to see how bad it is. I mean, so you got Baker Mayfield there, you have Josh Gordon, who can't seem to put the joint down and stay out of trouble. Jarvis Landry, who's he's slowly started to get into, on my nerves a little bit towards last year. He seemed like more of a look at me type guy, like another diva. But there's a lot of personalities on that team. I'm curious to see if it's gonna mesh or blow up in their faces, and what a better way to blow up than on a reality TV show. I just don't understand why they would pick the Browns. I mean, there's so many other so many other teams. I mean, I'm glad the Eagles aren't, but why wouldn't Hard Knocks want to follow a Super Bowl team? Not just because the Eagles won this year, but every year. Why wouldn't you want to follow a Super Bowl team, see how if they're going to repeat, or you got new guys coming in and old guys leaving, see how that's working out, or you have like the Ravens. Why not do them again? You have Joe Flacco, who's a little upset that they drafted Lamar Jackson. That'd be a lot of drama there. That'd be TV ratings. I mean, they're not just handing a TV show over to the Browns just to show practices. They want fights. They want reality. Just like the wrestling show, the Total Divas. That's all this is gonna be, and it pretty much is every year too. But that's supposed to be on HBO. I think they said it's supposed to be like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. I'll be sleeping by then with all the hours I work. Yeah, so there's that. The Browns being on Hard Knocks. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. Like I said, I'm gonna give it an episode or two and see if it keeps my interest. And if not, oh well, move on to the next show to start watching. How about, speaking of the Browns though, how about the past couple weeks with Johnny Football taking shots at him, saying that he knew how he played the Browns. They should have known how lazy he was, and barely read the playbook when he did get drafted. And now he's I don't think he's signed with the CFL yet, but I think he's close, and I'm somewhat rooting for him this time around. It seems like those couple years, the 2 years or whatever it was that he's been out of football or out of the NFL, it seems like he got humbled a little bit and realized, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it right. I got to put the time in. So I'm hoping that he goes to the CFL, or I know he played in the Spring League and, was lighting it up. So hopefully, CFL, he kind of pulls like a Kurt Warner. Goes up there, or even a Warren Moon. I mean, he's no Warren Moon, but go up there and maybe get signed by an NFL team and come down and have a decent, career. I mean, still young. He's still probably about 24, 25 years old. So I mean, he still has plenty of time to hit his permitting. So, but yeah, just the banter between him and the Browns it was pretty funny, and a lot of them I had to give the win to Johnny Football, some of the shots he was taking. But and then this past week, also, my favorite commentary duo, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, getting named to the Thursday night football games. Yay. This should be really interesting. I mean, this is going to be up there with the Color Rush. I don't know what is worse, the Color Rush or putting these two on Thursday night football. Why don't we put Chris Collinsworth down on the field as a sideline analyst? I mean, there were so many better choices, I thought. Especially with Jason Witten retiring, you could have put him up there. He's going to be a Monday night guy now, which I think he's going to be enjoyable to listen to. Just like Moose Johnson on Sunday games, he's enjoyable. Like he knows his stuff. Listening to Troy Aikman call any Dallas game is horrendous. Dallas could do no wrong. Everybody else is bad, even if you're 16-0. At least with Moose, he calls it right down the middle. There's no favoritism. So that's my one curiosity though with the Jason Witten thing is to see is he gonna call straight down the game, or is he gonna be like Aikman? And I hope he calls down the middle, because he was, other than Moose Johnson, one of the last Cowboys I could respect. He wasn't a look at me guy or prima donna or anything like that. He showed up every day, did his work, went home, and That's how football players should be. Not this, you know, like Des Bryant got offered by the Ravens, 3-year, $21 million. No, I'm worth more than that. Well, guess what? Now you're still sitting out there, and you're not going to come close to that money now if you even get signed this year. I mean, I know someone will, but someone will sign him, but it's going to be nowhere close to that. And I mean, another thing too is with Witten. A lot of people think he's not gonna really know what's going on up there. Well, as much as I love to make fun of him when he was with the Cowboys, just look at Tony Romo. He's another one that I enjoy listening to, and he knows football so well that when he's calling out the plays before they happen, it's actually fun to listen to that. At least for me. I don't know about you guys, but for me it is, and it's kind of funny also. It makes you wonder, how would he be if he was a coach and he's calling these plays out? But you just don't know. Hopefully, Monday nights will be enjoyable to listen to with Jason Witten. I'm not sure who else is with them, but hopefully it's enjoyable. But as far as the Troy Aikman, Joe Buck thing, I'll probably be listening to the game on mute, or trying to find another, maybe I'll listen to like Spanish, Espanol button or something like that, just so at least I could stand that. But yeah, I mean, reading about that, they said they're still going to call some Sunday games, not as many because of the Thursday night games. So I mean, maybe that's a good thing for me then. At least, I don't have to listen to them call an Eagles game on a Sunday afternoon or night. But I was hoping to get season opener tickets so I don't have to listen to them. I could listen to Merle Reese while I'm sitting at the game as it's going on. But going to get my tickets. Hopefully next couple of weeks, maybe I'll find something on StubHub, or a buddy of mine lives down in Philly. Maybe hopefully he could get something for us. But see what happens with that one. This last weekend, I don't know if you guys were following Twitter, but I was live tweeting the UFC 224, and I was tired. I was very tired. I mean, worked all day that day too. Plus, of course, Saturday nights, had a little bit of Jameson, as King was telling the story last week. I just needed a little relaxer, and fiance stayed up with me to watch it a little bit. I was pretty proud of her. She stayed up the whole night with me. We probably went to bed about 1 o'clock or so. The fights got over about 1. But I know last week we said that didn't really want to talk about UFC 224 because there's no real good matches standing out or anything like that. And the only match that I was really looking forward to was Manny Nunez against Raquel Pennington, which I will get to in a second because, oh man, 1 o'clock in the morning I was flipping out. But some of the other fights were pretty good. Machida against Belfort. Somewhat boring in the very beginning, but then it started picking up a little bit. And then just out of nowhere, Machida just kicked him square in the jaw, which is kind of funny because his training partner Anderson Silva did this exact same move to Belfort when they fought, and I mean just dropped him. And you know what, hats off also to Machida, because I don't even think Belfort was hitting the ground yet, and Machida just stopped, just stood there. I mean, he could have came over the top and kept punching till the ref jumped on him and threw him out, but he just stood there. He knew he was out. But I still think Machida is past his prime. He still thinks he could get a title shot and all that. I don't think that could happen. I think he has too big of a hill to climb. And then Belfort, when he got interviewed, left his gloves in the octagon. That's the kind of the old thing to do, to say that you're done, you're retired, and That's what he said. He's, when he got interviewed, he's been doing this fight game for a long time. Probably since, UFC really started to take on some more serious fans, and taking on bigger TV deals and stuff like that. And he helped build it where it's at. Even if me and King still think it might be a little fake, but I'm trying to remember some of the other fights that happened earlier in the night. But hey, I was pretty proud of myself before the Raquel Pennington and Manny Nunez fight. I think I was 3-1 with the fights, and some good knockouts, some good submissions, and very enjoyable. And then so the main event came on, and by that time it was like 12:30. Me and the fiance was finally just relaxing, sitting there enjoying. And first round came, and Manny Nunez just kept picking her apart, just jabs, kicks, just anything at will. And she, Pennington just kept backing up, and going up against the fence. And that's not something you want to do against a striker like Nunez. And second round was the same, third round, fourth round. And then in between the fourth and the fifth round came. And Pennington sat down on her stool, looked right at our coaches and said, I'm done. I can't go no more. And all this moron said to her was, come on, get back in there and fight. You got this. Go back in there and fight. And now they get about 30 seconds in between rounds to get their tips of what to do for the next round, or advice, or whatever you want to call, and or to stitch them up, or get a mouse down a little bit, or whatever like that, or cool down some drinks. And this guy didn't do any of that. All he kept saying was, just get back in there. This is how people get severely hurt or even die, is by stuff like this. Because if a fighter just gave up, they're not gonna care about like trying to win or punching or anything. They're not gonna know what to do, because they're so mentally trained, so mentally out of it. They're just gonna get hurt. And luckily, Pennington ended up losing in the fifth round, because fifth round started and it was probably maybe 2-3 punches, and Pennington's nose was busted up even before this, but about 2-3 punches, all of a sudden, not to be graphic, but just exploded, and there was blood all over the place. And 1 o'clock in the morning, our kids are in bed. I'm trying to scream underneath my breath at the coach, you moron, you could have killed her. And fiance's yelling at me to calm down and everything like that. But this is how people die. And this is not just UFC. This is boxing. This could be football. This could be NHL. With concussions, or all that type of stuff. If a fighter says you're done, especially this time in this era nowadays, athletes are bigger, athletes are stronger. They will get hurt more severely than they did in the past. If an athlete says they're done or they're hurt, then keep them out. Live to fight another day. Live to play another play. And that's what's wrong with some of these sports. I'm not saying, if my oldest son or youngest son say, hey, Dad, I want to play football, I'm going to back them. I'm going to say, okay, but this is what you're signing up for. And that's the exact thing, is they know what they're signing up for. But if they don't want to continue because they want to live to fight another day, then let them. There's going to be plenty more time, especially Pennington, who's still somewhat young. She's only mid-20s, maybe. She's another one that probably barely hit her prime yet, And we got this moron in the corner telling her, get back in there. Same thing happened to Nate Marquette a few years ago. And the difference between there, and my hat's off to that coach, he threw the towel line. Okay, my fighter says he's done, then I believe him. He's done. But don't just put someone back out there to continue fighting when they don't want to fight. That is how someone gets severely hurt. I mean, that night after the fights went off and everything, poor King, he might have been sleeping, but I sent him probably about a 35-page rant to him about this, and yeah, I mean, I was pissed. The other thing I saw this past week, as far as UFC goes too. Actually, before I go into that though, there was actually a lot of different fights going on. You had Bellator also going on. You had Bader beating King Mo, which kind of surprising. I thought Bader might have been another one that might have been over the hill because he has a glass jaw, and King Mo has the knockout power and got knocked out. I think it's like 20 seconds or something like that. Like maybe King Mo is starting to get up there also, and you know, might be over the hill now too, and just might fight for fights. And so speaking of Bellator too, is Chuck Liddell is coming back. And listen, Chuck Liddell was one of my first fighters I started to follow in UFC, and he thinks he could take John Jones, which, oh, Chucky boy, even 10 years ago, you couldn't take John Jones. He had a hard time with Rampage, and Rampage couldn't beat John Jones. But yeah, Chucky boy's coming out. He's gonna fight Tito Ortiz, which is gonna be such a sloppy fight. That's even Tito Ortiz makes it to fight. He always gets hurt because of his back or something like that. But I mean, Chuck should just stay retired. And you know, he's one that could teach these young kids a lot of stuff. But if he's in a wheelchair and, you know, crippled, how is he gonna teach anybody, like, you know, how to do any type of wrestling moves or jiu-jitsu moves or anything like that? But hopefully, you know, if he does go through with these comeback fights or whatever, he doesn't get severely hurt. I mean, I hope so, because like I said, I like Chuck. He's another one. He always came and respected the sport. He never was, you know, a John Jones, always getting in trouble, getting popped for steroids, stuff like that, you know. But and I forget what the other one is. The other organization that was fighting. But one style of fighting I can't wait to watch is on June 2nd, bare knuckle brawling. I know a lot of people are 50-50 about this. You know, is this the next MMA? And some people are like, well, it should have stayed, you know, illegal and stuff like that. I remember watching about 2-3 years ago, maybe about 5 years ago, on pay-per-view. It was bare knuckle brawling, but the difference was they had gloves on that the knuckles were exposed. This one, coming up June 2nd, is all they have is their wrist and their thumb wrapped, and it's bare knuckles. They're inside a square octagon or something like that they call it. I forget exactly what they call it. They got a toe line, and they stand there and they just box. Fighters got to fight out of a clinch. You know, part of me, I mean, I don't know. Part of me thinks it might be set up more of a wrestling. It might be like more real, like MMA, but who knows who's gonna win, who the winner's gonna be, you know. But I'm curious to see that. I know one former UFC woman fighter is there's Beck Rollins. She's cute, you know. I saw her on The Ultimate Fighter. I always liked her. She's definitely don't take shit from no one, that's for sure. But so yeah, as far as UFC, and there's another UFC fight night coming up, I believe this weekend. Not sure if I'm gonna be live tweeting that one. I'm gonna try to get back into this and live tweet, and if I do have time, or even King, I may even try to live tweet even like the the Stanley Cup final. Once we figure out who's gonna be going for the cup, I'm still hoping for the Vegas Knights. They're the team I'm pulling for. I'm hoping to see the Vegas Knights against the Capitals. I know King wants the Tampa Bay Lightning to be in the cup, but hopefully we could live tweet that. That would be something different than we've done in the past. Yeah, I mean, this playoffs actually hasn't turned out to be that bad of games. I mean, other than to be honest, the Flyers Penguins game, each game being a blowout except for maybe game 2, I believe it was. Now you got the top 4 teams. You know, it's a 2-1 or 4-2. It's actually good games now. The other reason I'm kind of going for Vegas is just because of Fleury. I hate when I see a team say a player's, you know, old and washed up. I mean, they never said it, but I mean, come on, the writing's on the wall. And he's done so much for you. He was a class act when Matt Murray came in and took over his spot, and he sat on the bench, and here he is, you know, a couple games away from going for the cup. And you know, speaking of Vegas, I saw I think on Twitter it said, what's more impressive, a GM putting an expansion team together that is winning playoff games, or LeBron James basically putting the Cleveland Cavaliers on his back and get them to this point. Again, you're like I said last week, you're taking an expansion team which is all different players, all different personalities, and say, here, you guys got to work this out. And it's working. However they're doing it, it's working. I don't know if it's pure luck or you know, the stars are lining up the right way. Pluto is lining up with Saturn on a Monday with the moon behind the sun, or whatever it is. But you know, Vegas is riding this wave till it crashes, and hopefully it doesn't crash till the last game of the finals that they win. So but you know, we'll see within next couple weeks, about probably another week or so. Man, sorry about that. That was a little bit of a long rant. Like I said, just my first time, okay, guys? You know, be gentle with me. But with all that being said, you know, we're close to a half hour here. I didn't want to do it too long. Like I said, probably bore you. So again, it's your good friend Jimbo. Follow me at Jimbo ST Sports on Twitter, or King. To follow King at King of Skunk, like the animal, Duck, like the animal, on Twitter. You could go over to our website. It's staytunesports.wordpress.com. And also you can follow us on Twitter, ST Sports Podcast. That's where I'm going to start live tweeting from that one. Last week I was doing for my personalized one. But so that's it for this week. Hopefully we'll see you guys, hear you guys next week. So see you guys later.